All right, let's take a look.
So I'd like to first review the first game, the one titled Gen Loss.
Okie dokie. Now, I don't know if
you can see it.
I don't know if we'll get through all three or even more than one, but I think it's good to start with one. And
but because the first game, I'll probably just look over the second half of the game.
You don't want to start
because the laning phase. There were some issues, but I'm pretty sure of what happened and how I can fix them.
Okay, so I personally would recommend. I know the feeling of being pretty sure of things you can fix. But what I would recommend is in all your replays, especially since you're in Platinum, I guarantee you there's quite a few opportunities, missed opportunities you're missing, and things you could improve on. I would recommend that we start by looking through the whole game.
The whole thing.
Right? So there's going to be a lot of stuff that, we'll pass over. All right, cool. So what I'll do is I'll share screen on Discord, and then you'll be able to see it with no lag. And is there anything you want?
By the way, it's 720p. Hope you don't mind.
No, it's all right. Don't worry. Is there anything you want to focus on specifically when we're watching? Like, if you have any parts of the game you struggle with, you want to focus on?
When we have like our top laners behind and vice versa, the enemy top laner is fed, and it's someone like Aurelia who's a bruiser.
Right.
As an immobile ADC like Jen. Fresh. I want to look for opportunities to try to shut her down while applying pressure to the other parts of the map. That's the part where I can't find it in the match, in the game when I watch it. I feel like perhaps maybe I'm wasting time just dancing around. That's the thing.
Yeah. So let's just take a look, and I'll try and give you my best estimate of what you could have done, because I think what you could have done is quite a lot more powerful than just looking at only your mistakes. So you're playing Jhin Thresh, right?
I think. Yeah, that's what I think. I think the game was pretty much winnable, and there weren't really a big disadvantage. We even had a really good late game team comp.
Okay, so you're Jhin Thresh into Lucian Senna, right? So talk to me about what you think this lane will go like. So generally speaking, first before you give me your opinion on that, I want you to think about your plan. So tell me, as if you were going into a solo queue game, what are you thinking in loading screen when you look at the loading screen? What are you planning out for the game?
First of all, because we are against the Kazakhs, I'll be aware of an early gank, perhaps level 3. So I'll probably rush level 2 with Thresh because it's much better than theirs.
Yeah.
After I believe the third wave or the fourth, I will just start to let it slow push toward us, because as I said, the Kazakhs is pretty strong at level 3 and 4, and just freeze at that time.
Oh, you're against Veigar Senna, not Lucian Senna. My bad.
Yeah, we got debated, and I went with armor shots.
Right. Still pretty good, because Senna does a lot of AD poke damage.
So. It wasn't completely wasted. As for my general plan against these two is to look for extended trades or all-ins, because if we only try to poke them, they obviously outrange us, so that would be bad for us.
Okay. So yeah, in this lane, Jhin Thresh, a lot of what you'll be doing early is you won't be able to out trade auto for auto walking up to Senna and out trade her, because she will auto Q you. So what you will generally be looking for is controlling the wave and pressuring them, because they have very bad wave clear early game. Veigar will burn through his mana very early, and Senna does not push waves quickly. Okay, so you win the lane by controlling the wave in this specific lane. You don't win auto for auto trades unless Senna really misplays. Okay, so you queue the first wave, and the first thing I always have to ask in every single replay, actually, do you think you know what I'm about to ask you? Take a guess.
Is what I back off?
No. This is something that should be applied every single game, so think more general, not specifically about this lane. Have a think. It doesn't matter if you get it wrong, but just have a think about general things. Every game you need to be thinking about.
Know where Kazakh started.
Exactly.
Left side or top side.
Right. Cool. Okay. So now I want you to run with that. Okay. Kazakh started where? We just saw, because of your laner.
Because they arrived a bit late. They probably leashed for him. So
exactly.
Side,
right.
Going through to top side.
Right, so he's bot side, right? Kha'Zix started red buff, you know he's bot side, and then that, generally speaking, means that Kha'Zix will do a full clear towards top. Kha'Zix with no blue buff, he doesn't like skipping blue buff first clear, basically. So you already have a basis of information to decide when. Okay, so this is already a huge mistake you're making, right?
Yes.
I was in the middle of talking about something else, but this is already a huge mistake. We'll come back to this in a second, but I want to finish the Kha'Zix point. So what is you knowing about Kha'Zix? How is that going to change your decisions? Because it's cool to know that Kha'Zix starts red, but give me some things you can do with that info.
We can perhaps go for extended trades even if we overextend. Like over the past the point of I believe
so it changes how you trade, right?
To the point of the Tribush, yeah.
Right. So roughly what time do people normally finish their jungle clears? If they're like level 3 and they want to gank, roughly what time? Do you know?
I think minute 5.
Minute 5 for level 3? Are you sure?
For level 3?
Yeah.
But that's not the full clear.
Yeah, what I mean is most junglers, the reason I'm asking this is a specific reason, right? When I'm asking you what time do junglers who gank at level 3 finish their clear?
Level 3, yeah. Who gank at level 3?
Yeah, like say for example you're against a Rek'Sai, he wants to level 3 gank. What time should you start being scared on the map?
A bit early. I think 3.5.
Even earlier. So this is showing me a little bit of maybe lack of jungle game knowledge, but jungle around 2 minutes 30, 2 minutes 45 is when junglers are finishing their third camp and are looking to pressure somewhere on the map. Generally, if they are not doing a full clear, right? So if you show me a Udyr, I will say, okay, he's probably going to look to full clear, or invade and not go for ganks. But like a Rek'Sai, what my next question is do you think Kha'Zix will level 3 you? Do you think he will do a full bot side and level 3 with the information I mentioned earlier?
That's a possibility because he's not so terrible at level 3, but not the best.
Yeah, it's a pretty weak gank, and especially in this game, do you think Vega, you are actually at risk? Maybe. Do you think you're actually at risk of a gank?
No.
Yeah,
no,
I don't think you should ever be scared. Yeah, I do not think you should be scared at all of them ganking. They have very kind of unreliable CC. There is, like, if Kha'Zix goes for the gank and it doesn't pan out bot lane, he will have done his whole bot side and ganked. And 9 times out of 10, Sejuani could just finish her full clear and then take top crab. It's very bad for Kha'Zix. So you need to think about this. And the reason is, number one, you need to change the way you trade in lane. Now, we're going to talk about trading right now. I'll skip to the part where I look at how you trade, but then we'll come back to this later. And I want you, after we look at the first 5 minutes, I want you to try and replay it better in your head, okay? Tell me what you do differently, basically. Okay? So you're playing the lane here. Now this is, yeah. I mean, can you run me through why this was such a bad trade?
Because this is myself to Senna. It's 2 auto attacks. Maybe if I only ate a Q from Vega, it would have been
right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you need to keep track of Senna. Senna now has control over the bush. Okay.
Ping Thresh to pressure her instead of being back away.
Now, one problem is, yes, your Thresh is making a mistake here. He is not pressuring up with you. Okay, but that means you need to change the way you play. Okay, you should not be just you should not be expecting Senna to just forget about the fact that she's in this bush. So think of Senna as having this zone of control here.
Oh.
Right, okay. Because she can auto from this bush. She can auto anywhere here, and then she can also go in and out of the bush. And this is extremely powerful. And frankly, a lot of bot lanes just do not understand the sheer value of a ranged champion in a bush, level 1 to level 3. Basically, this is she counts as 3 champions. Why? Because if she goes out of the bush, autos and goes in, what happens?
Well, another burst of damage that we can't counter because she is invisible.
Yeah, exactly. You literally can't counter it. So first of all, you have to commit by putting a ward down. Now tell me why it's already, when she's inside the bush right now, why is it already so risky to put a ward down right now?
Because of her range.
Exactly. Just putting the ward down in and of itself should give Senna a free auto attack. You see? So okay, this part maybe is hard for you to control because your Thresh should be the one in the bush first. But if he can't control the bush, you need to start respecting Senna's range. Okay, you can't just like do this. And I think this is classic in most AD carries. You see, I mean, she even pops out of the bush, so she's playing aggro. I don't know what this word is, but she's playing aggro, right? But you are tunneling on these 3 minions. I can see you lining up the Q. You're trying to get the triple bounce onto Veigar. Exactly. But what you're forgetting is the cost of this, and it's incredibly bad to lose your pot this early with this much healing coming out of enemy team. Because after one more trade with Senna Q going healing Veigar, you're screwed. And also Veigar starts with 2 health potions. You start with 1, right? But you do manage to get the push, so this is fine. Now, one thing I would recommend, and I've said this to many AD carries, is I can already tell you're making quite a few mistakes, but there's some mistakes which are technically not you doing something wrong. It's because you're not doing something right. And the first one is ping this guy to go forward when you have control of level 2. You need these 3 creeps for level 2. You kind of sacrificed, if you think of it this way, you did a good play in some ways by sacrificing your HP to get 2. I don't think it was planned, but it was still like, if you play around it, it's still a smart play, right? Because look at the wave now, right? So you need these 3 creeps for 2, right? You know that.
Yes, definitely.
Exactly. So now at this point, I'm telling my support, I'm pinging. I'm like, go, 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 go. Like, this guy is half HP. Senna has no cooldown on her Q. It's a very long cooldown. You guys win. You just outright win. There's nothing that they can do. They will have to back off. But at this point, you need to start working with your support and telling him what to do here. Okay?
Okay, true.
Because again, you were about to hit level 2, and this guy's look at where he is. He's like walking away from the wave, which is just not. This should not be something that should be happening here.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Now, this is really good of you, but again, you need to prime. What I call it is priming your laner or priming your support. I mean, I'm a support player, so I prime my AD carry, and I would be spamming on my wave pings, right? But in this situation, you are playing one of the few AD carries that can actually set up the Thresh hook. You can set it up yourself because you're Jhin. So it's good. I like this. This was a good decision to go for. You missed the W. All right, it is what it is. And a small point about this: you don't level your W in time. So you see how you auto here, and then you level. So you wouldn't have actually rooted her here. But that's a small point. You just need to make sure you level your W before you auto someone. Stonks. Okay. So Kha'Zix started bot side, so the likelihood is he's going to do top side, and you see a big problem. This is already a very dangerous situation to be in, or I guess I would call it, you're giving them too much room right now. You don't need to be scared of a gank here, okay? First of all, you are level 2, they are level 1. Secondly, you need to deny them from just standing here and stopping the wave. Because if they stop the wave, and actually we'll play it out, but this is very awkward for you because you basically screw yourself over for the next 20 to 30 seconds playing aggro. You just can't play aggro anymore because they're in front of their tower, they're chilling, they're farming. This is not a good situation for a Thresh Jhin to be in when you know that Kha'Zix is probably topside, right? You know that. So this is your time to play aggro, okay? But okay, you push the wave because again, they can't stop you.
Yeah, and we can't engage them from this range.
Right. Oh, was that okay, so Thresh misses hook. And again, so this is what I would call hitting the wave at the worst time. If you see the problem, it's kind of perpetually stuck in front of their tower. Like, yes, this wave will start to push towards you, but your cannon minions and your casters are already damaging it, and you need to CS. So do you see that the moment you start walking away from the wave, it starts this snowball effect, right? Where the wave gets stuck in front of their tower for so long. Do you get that? Does it make sense?
You can't either shove it
exactly.
Or let it slowly push.
It's like stuck in limbo, right? And this doesn't look like a huge mistake in the whole game itself. But what I would say is you're just denying yourself any chance to punish these guys. They have very weak lane, so yeah. You're not really giving yourself, or you're not really giving Thresh either any room to, like, look, this guy's just going to randomly throw hooks in front of tower and nothing's going to happen. So it's just about maximizing the opportunities you can give. And these kind of trades, by the way, in my opinion, they're just never worth. Senna gets souls, plus she gets to out-sustain you. So it's just never worth to go for those auto trades in this lane. Unless you have to get a cannon or a minion, it's just never really worth it.
Okay.
Your mic is picking up your breathing a tiny bit. Cool. Okay, that was a good cue. So you've I'm sorry, not based. You have pushed, and it looks like you want to maybe back. Your mic is still picking up. Your mic is picking up your breathing a little bit.
Is this fine?
That's better. Yeah, that's better. Cool. So again, I think part of this is
on like 650 gold only.
So you have a couple of options here. You have a lot. In fact, you have a lot of options here. After you queue this wave, right? You need to look at the next wave. Now, the next wave, I don't believe is a cannon wave. I believe it's a normal wave, if I'm not mistaken. But that means backing is not the greatest because they can push a normal wave pretty fast. I don't think backing on this wave would be the smartest because they would push this wave too quickly, right? And you didn't push the last wave that quick, so they have plenty of time to just one-shot the wave and then you'd miss minions. What you can do, however, is I wouldn't give up pressure by just walking out of lane here. This is one of those opportunities or those times where it's kind of useless for you to walk out of lane, right? So from this point, maybe you were scared of Kha'Zix, but like I mentioned, you should be constantly in the back of your mind be like, Kha'Zix is topside, right? And again, it's 3 minutes 25 in the game. This is an extremely important point in jungle tracking and in no matter what role you play, okay? You know Kha'Zix started bot. If Kha'Zix is not ganking by level 3, okay, or taking bot scuttle by like 2 minutes 30 or 2 minutes 45, he will be topside, right? Because he's not going to hang around the side of the map where he has cleared everything and just be sitting in a bush for 1 minute. Junglers don't do that, right? So you know pretty much 99.9% of the time, by the time this clock hits like 3 minutes, I know Kha'Zix is going for top camps. I just know. Even though I haven't seen him on the map. Does that make sense? Does logic make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Cool. So that means don't give up pressure here. Do you see what I mean? Don't just randomly back off because you know he's going to show top. And then you see him here.
You do this only if it's against like heavy early game junglers like Elise, Zhao.
So your ward timing is already, it's 3:37 right now, just for everyone who can't see, right? It's 3:37 right now. You're already too late. You're already about 40 seconds too late. If you're playing against an Elise, a level 3 Elise, you ward at like 2:30. Maybe slightly earlier, maybe 2:25 or something like that. Or maybe if you can get away with it and you know exactly what path she's taking, maybe you could ward at like 2:40. As long as you ward in a place you know that she's going to end her path in and it's going to be a useful ward. But okay, if you ward at 3 minutes against this is generally when junglers are on 4 camps, right? And then they're about to go to scuttle. They're about to like choose which scuttle they go to. So the important part here is what I would say is, again, it doesn't look like you're making a massive mistake, but you're giving up a little bit of pressure for pretty much no gain, right? And these are going to start adding up and you'll start seeing so many opportunities where you're just walking away with incorrect information when you could be playing more aggressive, you know? But I mean, no like major misplays as of yet. You're just playing very safe. But here, again, you've had time to prepare for this, right? Your jungler. So you see what's going on top. You see that Kha'Zix is doing taking crab. You see your jungler wants to go for bot crab. What you need to start thinking about is, okay, can we set up for a gank here, right? And what I would, again, try to encourage is using your pings. Don't just sit there and be a passenger and let the game go by and just kind of, you're in la la land just hoping your jungler ganks. Control the pace of the game. Okay, that's how you climb in solo queue. All right? You don't like that. That's how every challenger player or whatever elo player consistently gets to high elo, is by choosing what plays they make and telling their teammates which plays they want to make. So tell me how you would communicate to your Sejuani as she's doing crab here.
I'll probably just ping her that I'll freeze the wave, and if they stay, that's a pretty easy gank. Yeah,
exactly. And now the next part is visualization, and this is something, again, a lot of lower elo players tend to leave to the wayside. They think that it's just fine to go for the gank and see how it plays out. But I want you to visualize how the gank, what is the way the gank needs to be played to actually work. So like you have control over your spells. You have 3 spells. So walk me through what the most reliable way to kill these guys is.
If they overextend and do not respect that they're overextending, like past the middle point of the lane, you probably just let Sejuani flank them and ping the Thresh to go for a flay or a hook.
Okay, cool. That's what I wanted. I don't really care about the specifics of where they're standing. I want you to just tell me, like, that's important, obviously, but I want you to tell me, does Thresh go first? Does Sejuani go first? Does Jhin go first? Does Thresh use whatever, Flash Flay? Does Sejuani, do you wait for the Sejuani CC? Or do you go first? This is a really, really, really important point, because this will dictate what cooldowns are used when. And again, the higher you go, the more clean these kind of players understanding how they interact. So who do you think goes first?
Okay. Probably Sejuani if the Tri-Brush is not warded.
Right. So if Tri-Brush is not warded, Sejuani goes. And here's the thing that I think is, that's a very good thought process, but to guarantee the kill, the only way I can see you guys guaranteeing the kill is Thresh Flash Flay. Okay? Why? Because if Sejuani walks into Tri-Brush and goes behind them here, okay?
There's some time for them to react, maybe.
They have time to react to the Sejuani Q. If Thresh Flash Flays them when they're trying to get this wave, essentially, what I'm trying to say is they don't have any reason to stay after this wave. You see what I mean? They are going to kill this wave.
We'll miss our chance.
Exactly. They're going to kill the wave and they're going to piss off. So it's really important that you create a situation where they have to stay until Sejuani arrives. And the way you do that is, in this situation, this is your turn. It does not matter if you lose a bunch of HP here, because sure, you've got your jungler right next to you, so you play really aggro here, okay? And you make it a very difficult choice for them, because they have to stay to finish this wave, otherwise it's just going to get frozen. Okay? You ping your Thresh to start getting ready to go. Keep an eye on Sejuani, make sure that she's going to finish Crab soon. Don't obviously do this when she's like, Crab is full HP, but you get my point.
Yeah.
And again, all these small things start to add up and you'll start to have way more reliable ganks, because you know where jungle is, you know it's fine to play aggressive. Okay.
So yeah, actually, Thresh actually does it to some extent.
I mean, again, it's fine the way he did this, but this is a very, very bad way of engaging. Like, every player should, like, they should know that the second Thresh and you swap positions and he starts randomly walking up like this, this guy has been sitting behind you the entire lane and sitting here the entire lane, or at least like he's been very passive. Suddenly he starts walking up. What does that immediately tell you?
Yeah, it's obviously a gank's coming.
Exactly. And then
just play defensive.
Exactly. But then he flashes and he hooks. So imagine if Veigar just flashes away.
Yeah.
You know, this is not a reliable way to start the gank, but okay, it works out, whatever. You know, you can't have everyone play perfectly. It is what it is. But the next thing you need to think about is your recall, right? You need to back. And I think I know what's about to happen.
I should have pinged Thresh to help me with the shove here.
Yeah, you Sejuani, you mean?
Perhaps both, if she
exactly.
Can stay. But maybe Thresh could be enough.
Yeah, so you should ping Sejuani, and it's really important that you just get the wave in, because I mean, I spoiled it a little bit, but you're about to see what happens, right? What is Veigar about to do?
Yeah, maybe they could freeze.
Yeah, exactly, because he uses teleport,
really
right? Yeah, it would be really frustrating to have to deal with the freeze, or at least it would just force you to stay in lane longer when you don't need to. You could have just one-shot this wave, and you could have been happy. And in fact, this is extremely bad now, because we've delayed this wave long enough. Do you see where your wave is? You see where your wave is. So their wave is about to arrive. Right now, it's really bad. Now it's like, oh shit. This is a bit awkward. You see the crappy situation you've now put yourself in?
Understand.
Yeah. So I often see this. In fact, this is one of the most common things I've seen when I've started doing coaching sessions the last 2 months is
recall timing.
Just bad recall timings. You take a good play and then people don't know how to capitalize or when to call for help to push or to finish the wave. And then this recall timing, you have gotten an assist, but I guarantee you right now, you are losing more than you're gaining. I just know, because
on the long run,
in the long run, if they hold this freeze for even 3-4 creeps, the assist is already they've already evened the gold, and any more creeps than that, it's just pure profit for them. So, okay, mid lane is playing pretty aggro. Looks like your Sejuani died. For some reason, they broke the freeze. It is what it is. That's really good for you. That's very good for you. Now,
yeah, definitely.
Veigar has no flash, right? We know this. Okay, so tell me how you're going to play the lane out. Let's go.
We should probably call for another gank from Sejuani, especially if she is already batting bot side.
Okay, so
if not, we can engage ourselves if we manage to get a freeze.
Yeah, we can engage. You can engage yourself if you can manage to get onto them in the first place. You can do a bunch of different things here, but frankly, right now in this stage, you went for. So I personally wouldn't have gone pickaxe first. I would have probably gone boots and longswords because boots on Jhin are just incredibly strong for tethering in lane, for like going in and out of auto attack range, for dodging harass, for dodging CC. For I just think boots are incredibly broken in early game in lane. But you went pickaxe, and that's not like the end of the world. It's in fact it's fine. If you go pickaxe now, you can all in them extremely easily. But you need, again, you look at the way this guy's playing. You need to start speaking with your support. You need to start communicating with your support and telling him like, hey, like I would right now. The way I would communicate is I would ping Veigar's flash, and then I would ping my exhaust, and then I would start thinning the wave, and I would be like, I wouldn't even have to type in chat. Most supports would see that and be like, oh, okay, we have exhaust advantage. Enemy Veigar has no flash, and you can start pinging. Like, you control your support. Don't let your support don't just sit back and have a holiday. This is, you have to get focused and get invested in the game and control what your support does. Should they be allowed to walk up here and just break the freeze?
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
But because Thresh is backing out, they are.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is you need to take responsibility for that. That is not a Thresh is playing bad, because Thresh is a platinum player, just like every other platinum player. He doesn't notice these things. So if you want to be better than a platinum player, then you notice these things and you tell it to him. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the mentality that'll get you, that'll start winning you these games. And that's what best, hell, when LEC AD carries, when I'm laning with them, okay, they don't sit back. They don't sit back and just like farm and do nothing. They are constantly pinging, constantly feeding info. They will ping summoners. They will ping the wave. They will ping enemy jungle location. Like that's how you can carry from AD carry.
Very active.
Very active, right? But the wave is pretty neutral. The wave is pretty even. I think at this stage in the game, we can like pretty much just expect Thresh to play incredibly passive. So I'm not gonna over repeat the point. They're just pushing the waves. You're just catching waves here. Let's see if what I would assume starts to happen is you start to not really know what to do once mid game arrives in this game. Okay. This is exactly why they can't walk up, Like this is some illegal gameplay. And what I would do here is
go more aggro.
Well, no, I mean, you went about as aggro as I want, but I just want to stress this point. Just start spam pinging here. They're dead, or at least Senna needs to burn flash. There's just no way she should get out of this without flash. I think you should just walk up and start walking directly towards her. This guy's a level 5 Veigar. He's not going to do anything to you. They're just trolling here. They're trolling incredibly hard. Like what I think the best AD carries I've played with on the ladder would do would be, as soon as they land this W on Senna, they would fucking sprint forward. If Veigar cages them, what would they do?
Flash.
They would just fucking flash over it directly into Senna's face.
Yeah, it's worth. Okay.
Right. Now, there is an inherent risk in that Kha'Zix could be bot side, but as far as I remember, Kha'Zix is doing blue buff. So you have Sejuani nearby. I don't think it's like the end of the world because Thresh has Lantern. So
yeah, they still got exhaust.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm playing like I'm playing what do you call them? Hyper carries. Yeah, it feels like I'm playing Jinx or Kog'Maw.
In some ways, yeah. I think the hyper carries can also be played. Like, it's more about lane matchup. You know what I mean? Because there's some lanes like Jhin Thresh just can't do what you're doing right now. It really depends. Like, it's a game by game thing. It depends on the laning phase, and it depends a lot on good W. It depends a lot on a lot of factors.
Yeah, I think I go.
All right, what are we scared of? This guy has level 5 He has no mana. You know for a fact he's not hitting 6 soon because, you know, he's just not. So what are we scared of is my question. Do we think like maybe you're getting ganked or?
Perhaps the Kazakhs? I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention to the map.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it just showed up as at our blue.
At this stage, I think this is one of those situations where I would just play incredibly aggro, like incredibly aggro. You have Sejuani nearby, and look at what's happening mid lane. Lucian is leaning towards leaning towards top side, which means maybe Kha'Zix is pathing towards top. I don't know. Like he's not around bot. He's not fighting your Sejuani on this. So I don't think Kha'Zix would sit in this brush for like this long without having made a play or dealt with the Sejuani doing Drake. So I'm just, it's not a guarantee, but I'm hedging my bets that Kha'Zix is in bot side right now. And again, like there's nothing you should not be afraid of this cage. You should walk past the cage and just go straight for them. You know, if Senna tries to ult you when you're in melee range, just exhaust her and just start slapping her face. Yeah. This guy's level 5. He ain't gonna do shit. You completely crap all over Senna if you like even there, right there, just wait the exhaust and just walk up to Senna, you know?
I think I do that, I'm not sure.
Okay, that's more like it. There we go. Whoa, 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 why are you pinging back?
Yeah, that's a really big mistake.
It was a huge mistake. This guy has no flash. We know Kha'Zix, like, okay, you've been fighting for about 10 seconds. Kha'Zix is not a bot lane anymore. He would have showed bot lane a million years ago if he was bot. Okay, and again, after all this fighting in the mid lane and Lucian hard leaning towards top side, I would expect Kha'Zix to be top. But then you finish this kill. If you just walk up to this guy, even if he has phase rush, you just Q auto. Once he gets out of range, you R his ass and he's dead. Oh, yikes. Yellow star? Is that you? Looks like he dies anyway because Thresh is the best player in the universe. Awesome. Good stuff. Cool. So now you have a lead. You push the wave and I'm spooked that you're about to stay. Yeah, you're staying. Oh no. I do not like staying here. You need to back. So this is a small point. You do eventually make the right call, but just try and be a little bit faster on it. Just insta back. There's like, unless you're getting that plate, it's a kind of a waste of your time. Do you get the plate? I don't know.
No.
Doesn't look like you get the plate. Oh, no, you got the plate. You got the plate. Worth.
What, did the effect show up? What?
Hold on, let me double. No, you actually don't get the gold.
Yeah.
You don't get the gold. Okay, so yeah, it's actually just a small point. That actually ends up losing you gold because you autoed the tower and the play went down. It actually ends up losing you gold. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of a yikes, but it's okay. I mean, what I'd say is as you get higher and higher up, every single like hesitation on the map where you're just sitting around, you're not sure where to go, ends up costing you a potential play. And the game becomes quite ruthless with that kind of mentality. If you are indecisive on the map, if you are constantly second guessing yourself on the map, you will, first of all, you will struggle to learn when to back properly because you'll just constantly be making bad backs and you'll never understand why. You'll just be like, oh, I was trying to make a decision and it didn't work out. And then second of all, you won't even have the chance to make better plays because your backs are not even letting you get ahead or keep the lead in lane. You know what I mean? But you didn't lose that much time. You end up, you end up doing pretty okay in terms of yourself.
I'm pretty surprised that they managed to push 2 waves this fast.
So at this point, once Veigar gets like his first, like maybe lost chapter or whatever he's going, and Senna can queue a whole wave with her Q, they can push pretty fast because they can Veigar W the wave, Senna can Q auto, and then Veigar can also Q. They have pretty fast push at this point.
Sure.
Okay. So you come back to lane after the play, Thresh roams, and you're just catching wave. Okay. Right here.
I should have pinged for a gank with Victor.
Right. We have this is a textbook example of a great mid lane roam. He pushes the wave, he walks with support, he shoves, your support is putting wards down, and then we are. This is good. What I don't like is us going for Veigar. I do not like us going for Veigar. I think this is incredibly greedy to go for Veigar.
Because he has phase rush? Or why?
I think we should have just killed the Senna there. I'm pretty confident Veigar had flash there. I mean, it works out. It works out. But I think you should have just R'd the Senna. But if you can kill both, I don't think you can kill Senna here. No.
Because she's closer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a more guaranteed play. And there's another secondary reason, which is we didn't actually see where Kha'Zix was. So going for the Veigar is a little bit spookier. Whereas Senna has no flash. I know Senna has no flash, right? Veigar should have flash up now at this point in the game. I'm not sure why he didn't use it. But that's okay. I mean, again, I don't think it's like the end of the world, but I personally think it's safer to go for Senna because I don't know where Kha'Zix is, and if we're spending time near their tower, it's a bit spooky. Like, I want to get one kill there fast and then let Victor go back mid, because the longer we spend chasing, the worse it gets for Victor. And in fact, this looks like a sick play, right? But they actually get mid tower. So how sick is it? Because they had spawned Herald mid lane. So okay, we got one kill bot lane. We didn't get any plates bot lane. We didn't get tower damage. We just got a kill. And they ended up actually getting mid tower. So overall, I think
it was a loss.
It was probably a loss. And this is a very difficult part of the game, because when the enemy team has Herald, you have to constantly remind yourself about Herald. You have to constantly remind, oh, you went to magical footwear. Okay, interesting. I personally would never go magical footwear on Jhin, because one of your biggest power spikes is boots of swiftness. And Swifty boots early on is, it allows you to play so incredibly aggro. I think this guy should die here. Tell me how.
So like you recommend rushing it even before the mythic?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've seen pretty much all Jhins in my games. They don't skimp out on. They don't go tier 1 boots into mythic. They go tier 2 boots and then they finish their mythic. Ooh. Tell me how you kill this guy right now. I think he's or at least get his flash.
Yeah, first of all, I gotta pink him for Thresh.
No. Just tell me, like, because you have a bunch of ways.
Maybe because I have Gale Force.
Exactly.
We can play aggressively. I can just dash in and set up the play for myself.
Exactly. Just dash in his ass. Just dash on his ass. Look for the W. Right. He should just die here. There should be no way this guy is standing this far up. Like, what is Senna going to do against you Gale forcing forward? Nothing. He's useless. Yeah. And if Veigar turns and blows his combo on you, you exhaust his ass. So that was a free kill, I think. That guy, or at least it was a flash. The guy should have burned his flash.
Sure.
And again, right there, don't be afraid. Like, you have perfect vision. You know where Kha'Zix is. This guy has half HP. You know, you have R in 15 seconds. Just go on them, you know? I mean, the only spell you need to worry about, the only spell is Veigar Cage. And frankly, you shouldn't be hit by Veigar Cage if you're not, like, half asleep. Because Veigar, like, even with tier 1 boots, like, getting hit by a Veigar Cage is difficult. Unless you're, like, trying to walk through it, in which case, why are you trying to walk through it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of holding the wave. Personally, this is one of those points as an AD carry, you could do one of two things. You could tell your support you just want to chill bot lane, because it looks like you just want to chill with the wave, with the way you're managing your wave. Okay, and I would say, like, I would start pinging back, and I would tell him, like, you can roam. But this is a bit of a difficult decision, especially in lower elos, because sometimes he won't know what to do with his roam, and he will just start doing bad plays. Or you could figure out a way to make a reliable play on your side of the map. And I think the reliable play would be to force the wave in and then invade or gank mid. And there's two reliable plays. I don't think it's reliable to make a play bot lane, because if you go bot lane right now and start trying to hit tower with Kha'Zix pathing bot, one Veigar Cage can just end your life. Right? Because if you walk up the tower and he cages you, you can't escape. Right? So a safer play would be... Exactly. Okay. A safer play would be to push, walk mid, and pressure the Jhin. You can pressure the Jhin in a variety of ways. Not Jhin, what the hell am I talking about? Pressure the Lucian. You can pressure the Lucian in a variety of ways. If you can't find that angle, there's options to just help your Thresh get vision, you know? Like, ping him, hey, let's invade, let's put some wards down in their jungle, okay? But instead, what I would say is, you are the team's win condition this game. Okay, you have a Riven who appears to be losing very hard into Aurelia. You have a mid lane who has no tower and is losing very hard. You guys are the only point of pressure on the map. So if you take a back seat, chill, and sit back and farm, what you are essentially doing is allowing Kha'Zix to just make whatever aggressive plays he wants on the map, and you guys are telling the enemy team, we're not making any aggressive plays on our strong side. And an aggressive play does not necessarily just mean we smash our face into the keyboard and run at them. But I mean, like, you know, using our... Look at this. The enemy team is so scared they don't want to walk up. Look how scared they are. They can't even touch the wave. What we could do is use this to get vision and secure mid lane, because this guy's having a lot of trouble catching wave. Look where he's catching wave. And you know what this does? Because this guy has to catch wave in fucking Canada, you guys cannot push that far, you know? You're starting to feel the pressure. I can tell you're starting to feel the pressure with the way you're moving now. You're like, oh crap, our mid lane is under tier 2. Our jungler is also... I mean, this guy could get evaded, potentially. So what you should try and do is preemptively use your pressure to hold up, like shore up the crappy vision you have. All right, I like that Gale Force. It was a decent attempt, but...
Yeah, here's a...
Yeah. I mean, this is the style. This is the thing that you should have been looking for earlier. But when you need to kind of exhaust the Vigar in this situation. If you exhaust the Vigar and take Lantern, it's fine. But I think the timing is a little bit spooky because, like I mentioned, because you have no vision here, and you've seen Kha'Zix walking from mid lane, I wouldn't recommend doing this now. Like, this is exactly the type of thing you should be doing when you have vision of Kha'Zix, and when you remember what I said. You need to prime your support. Tell them what you want to do. Ping them that you're going to use Gale Force. I would even ping your Gale Force. You know, ping your Gale Force and say, I'm going to go in. But what I see here is you haven't pinged. Actually, you did ping your Gale Force once. That was 40 seconds ago. No, it's more than that. It was almost a minute ago, right? So this was probably when you bought your Gale Force. But what I'm guarantee you right now, bro, this guy has no idea what you're about to do. This guy is fucking clueless. He has no idea what you're about to do.
Yeah, right. That's the problem.
And sure, okay, yes, that's a big mistake by this guy. Like, this guy will not climb if he plays like this. But frankly, you're not trying to make this guy climb. You're trying to make this guy climb. You know what I mean? So you tell him what you want to do by pinging, and you do this, and you prime him. And what it does is it increases the chance of him actually paying the hell attention to what the hell is going on. Potentially throwing Lantern faster, potentially walking up, going for a hook. You know, it gets him involved in the play, so it's less a 1v2 play. Because, and the secondary point to all this is I wouldn't do this when Kha'Zix has entered bot jungle. Because, again, your Victor has to deal with mid-wave. Now that you've died here, this is very, very bad for the map. Because you have just lost pressure on the one side of the map you were doing well on. And that is an incredibly badly timed death. Right? You can see now that basically the entire map is just going to be dark for the next 3-4 minutes. You have to give Drake. I mean, sure, your top lane's getting creamed on 1v1, but from this point, I would be very impressed if you can get any dragons. Because they just have mid tower, they have full control, and like, this is what I expected. The enemy jungler is just going to start running at your jungler. So... I know I'm harping on this mistake a lot. I really am harping on this mistake, but I want to try and show you, I'm not just saying this to say you're wrong. I want to show you examples of what you could do for better communication. Because what I'm noticing is nobody in your skirmishes or in your 2v2s or in your 3v3s like we're seeing now knows what the other people want to do. This Sejuani she just queues away. And then Thresh goes for a hook immediately. And then you are. And Sejuani's like, oh shit, okay, my team wanted to fight. And then she turns around and tries to chase. And it's like, chaotic. It's just so chaotic. No one knows who's going to use what spells. And what I would be doing here, okay, is pinging on your way. Right? If you assess the situation and think that you can win this fight. Now, personally, can you win this fight?
Probably not.
Probably not. No, I don't think you really have the damage to.
Yeah, but perhaps we can
one-shot someone and then back out. You don't have to like outright win the fight.
And Kha'Zix is pretty close.
Yeah, and
actually already uses
exactly. He just uses jump. That's a really good point. When he uses his jump, most people in my games would start spam pinging the Kha'Zix because we have chain CC with Thresh into Sejuani into Jhin or whatever, you know. But there's another important point that just happened bot lane. You're coming off of a respawn after bot lane just did what to you?
Yeah, they shift the wave. And the second wave is probably coming, so if we die there, we lose even more.
Yeah,
Not
this
just
is
the jungle.
but this is actually something that's that would make me want to take the fight. Something that happened to bot lane just now.
So that they don't take control over our side of the jungle?
It's a cooldown. What are they missing? There's a huge cooldown they're missing right now. They used on you to kill you.
Vigar's ult.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see how Vigar is so much less useful. At this point, his art is like a huge portion of his damage, right? So if Kha'Zix commits this hard and you're nearby, I would start pinging and I would start saying like, hey bro, like I have W, I have R, I have everything up. I can contribute to this fight because I think this is a fight that you guys can contribute to. But Lucian does arrive before you can get there, and that's fine. Okay, the play didn't go particularly well. But again, there's no objectives on the map now. Now you just have to kind of cut your losses. Okay, what you're doing here is extremely risky. Extremely risky.
Yeah, they could be in the bush.
Yeah, I mean, again, sure, they looked like they were walking out here, but they could have just walked straight back into the bush. So I would be very scared of walking up there. I would probably just wait to see Vigar on the wave is what I would probably do. In fact, they are here. Someone just worded, so maybe there's someone here, or potentially they walked this way. So it's a bit sketchy. Okay. So wherever your Riven goes, death follows, but not for the enemy team. Okay, so I mean, this is just turning into a. It looks like your Thresh landed a pretty nice hook there, but again, Kha'Zix is nearby. I wouldn't really want to follow up on that. Good. You see how annoying it is for Vigar to land spells on you with Swifties? Incredibly hard to land skill shots on a Jhin with Swifties. So you're just chilling under bot tower. You're really not able to impact the map or do all that much right here. And personally, I think it's bad if you go mid lane here, because if you put Victor bot lane, I think he'll just caged and die. But it's also not good for you to just be stuck in bot lane for the rest of your life. So you need to start thinking about how you can win this game. Holy crap. So, okay, so your team has just won a top fight. What do you think is going to happen? I'm just going to pause. What do you think is going to happen right now?
The enemy team will probably just go more aggro on bot side.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Perhaps even dive us.
Cool. So how do you avoid the dive is the next step. What's the plan?
Just try to freeze, and if they're shoving, then we should just debush the wave.
Generally speaking, it's just kill the wave, right? If they cannot dive without the wave. So I wouldn't go for a freeze in this situation. It's very risky to try and freeze. Extremely risky to freeze. And also your health matters a tremendous amount when you're trying to stop a freeze. Sorry, stop a dive. Okay. So your health is probably the most important resource in dives most of the time. Second only to the minions. If they don't have minions, then they can't dive. And if you have full HP, it's much harder to dive as well.
Sure.
Okay. So at this point in the game, I would realistically consider, like, you are the strongest person on your team. You are permanently stuck bot lane. You are basically getting literally nothing done. What I would start doing is considering where you are useful, because you are not useful here. Okay, you are just not contributing anything by being bot lane permanently, when you could potentially be much more useful in mid lane or top lane. Now, I think bot lane is not the end of the world if your team plays around you, but then you have to start telling your team to play around you. So if you go mid lane, for example, you could play with Thresh with your W and your ult from side lanes. But this is pretty much, that was a fantastic Gale Force. That was a good flash. I actually don't think you need to flash. I think you can just exhaust her when she jumps on you. But it was a good Gale Force nonetheless. It was a really good Gale Force. Cool. But if you get stuck in this side lane forever and ever, then I really don't see a way your team can make proactive plays. They're kind of just, they're fucked. And this wave is also incredibly hard for you to manage now that Aurelia is here.
Yeah, I think after this point, they just go mid, I think.
Okay. Yeah, looks like you're going mid. That's good. Once again, take control of the game. So I'm about to say, ping your teammates, tell them where to go. Don't be a passenger. Tell them, like, I want to go mid, let's get picks. From this point onwards, this is what I'd call the in this elo, in pretty much D2 and below, this is what I would call the I call it the coin flip.
Yeah, we
phase,
just let the game play by itself.
Where everyone just switches their brain off. We just autopilot and we just do whatever the hell we like. We see a champ on the minimap and we just start running at them. So you need to break out of this coin flip mentality and you need to start directing your team where to go on the map. Okay, you need to choose a good, reliable play before your teammates inevitably choose some random ass play, like some terrible play that ends up in some crappy fight in the middle of nowhere, and then you lose like a dragon or baron. Like this. This is just, what are we doing here? Like you aren't paying attention to this fight. Sejuani isn't at the beginning of the fight. Thresh is chasing. They have, like, this is just chaotic as hell. Okay, so we get a pick. Looks like your Riven is dying though.
Yeah.
And this looks like it's just going to become a bit of an ARAM.
So in the end, it was just even. Maybe worse than even.
I mean, yeah, I don't think you're ever, like, unless you're fighting for a reason, what are we fighting over? Okay, cool, we got 1 kill. We didn't have Drake. The mid wave pushed in. I mean, you can't do the Drake, though, because Aurelia is strong enough, in my opinion, to just stop you.
It's already pushed.
Yeah, exactly. It's already pushed. You have to deal with ball wave. So if you start Dragon, you're giving up a ridiculous amount of farm and XP ball lane. So I don't think there was ever a window you could take this Drake, right?
So just give it up.
Just give it up, catch the waves, look for picks, like around mid lane, around top lane. What I would suggest is the best play is stay away from this Aurelia, go top lane. You should have probably pinged Victor and been like, okay, let's go for top tower. Because again, yeah, it sucks you have to give up Drake, but frankly, I don't think you have any reason to contest Drake when, you know, they're about to herald, like they're playing towards Aurelia, they're making sure that Aurelia is fine. If you can get a pick before Dragon and before they can set up bot, I think it's fine. You need to look for that though. You need to tell your team, let's look for a pick before Dragon, right? That's a really strong way of denying a Drake when you're behind. You get a pick and then you're in the game. Good?
Yeah, this was really bad.
Okay. Well, I mean, this Thresh is horrific. I mean, Jesus, his mechanics are extremely bad, but oof,
maybe
man,
he was focused on the Herald.
I think he just missed everything. I think he maybe thought he was the Herald. Okay, so he misses Flay, he misses ult, he doesn't Lantern until you're dead. Oh, he hits Hook. Okay, never mind. He's better than Yellow Star. But yeah, this situation, again...
Yeah, again, I should be pinging them.
You should be pinging, because, like...
What I'm trying to do.
What is this dude doing? Like, look at what's going on here. And this guy is, like, clearing his blue buff. And our Riven is... I believe our Riven will join, but, you know, you're rushing this play a little bit as well. You need to wait for Sejuani to be in position. But what I would also say is this is partly some game knowledge. You need to understand that Aurelia has a lot of ways of, if you don't have, yeah, exactly. If you don't have like a reliable Thresh who can flay Aurelia away, you need to be careful, right? Because Aurelia will stick to you more than you can run away from her. And after watching the Thresh in lane, I would be a little bit hesitant to take a risky fight. Like if you're about to take a fight that relies on Thresh keeping you alive, that's a potential big mistake. You know what I mean? Because this Thresh has been playing extremely passive and he has not shown that he understands his champion to a great degree. So that was a good blue trinket to spot the Lucian. I don't really like this ult though.
Yeah, because I thought the play was bad, so I just tried to slow him. Or to save my teammates.
I guess Sejuani is the most broken champion.
Sejuani was, too tanky and the fight was somehow turned around.
I mean, okay, it is what it is. So, yeah, I think the blue trinket was great and you started pinging your team, and then maybe the R ended up actually turning the play. Who knows? Licorice, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So, this is the part of the game maybe you struggle with. Do you feel like you don't know what to do at this point? You're slightly behind. You're behind on the map. How do you win the game?
Exactly.
So I want your opinion on what you would do now. Like before the coaching session, what would you have done?
I'll probably try maybe get a pick on Aurelia when she overextends. Or if that doesn't work, we can just pressure the opposite side of the map.
Okay. So
like I suggested, top lane.
You gave a good suggestion, but this is something that I think This is what I've had a coach call it the loser's mentality. Okay, I'm gonna write loser's mental so everybody understands this. This is what not in a toxic way, but why does going for a pick on Aurelia, why does that what am I about to tell you that's incredibly bad about trying to go for a pick on Aurelia at this part of the map? Or potentially maybe she's here, I don't know. Why is it like not good to just constantly go for picks on Aurelia here?
Because we're putting opportunities for them on the other side of the map.
Well,
and she is a very fit bruiser. Maybe she can like 1v3.
What I would think of it this way is you're chasing. First of all, you're playing to their strongest member and their strongest side, so you need to be very careful and aware of what you're giving up. That's the important part. I don't really care if you kill Aurelia if you then get both waves pushed in. The important part is, do you actually gain anything from killing Aurelia, right? If you kill Aurelia here, but you don't get anything on the map, you get literally jack shit, then you need to see if there's actually a better play on the map. Because personally, I do not think going to Aurelia's lane and trying to kill her will amount to anything more than just one kill. You're going to kill her, and then everyone's going to have to catch waves. Your Victor or you are going to have to catch waves here. Maybe even you miss farm top. You know, it's like, okay, cool. Aurelia dies, but Veigar and Lucian get a crap ton of farm. You know what I mean? And this is like chasing a bad play on the map mid-game. I actually thought of making a video about this, but it's a game by game thing. In this game, for example, Aurelia like can generate enough pressure that I probably would say it takes either 2 or 3 people, depends on who, to actually stop her from even pressuring, right? You need to send 2 or 3 people. So in this situation, no matter what you do on Aurelia's side of the map, okay, unless the enemy team is completely half asleep, if you send 2 or 3 people to Aurelia's side, you will lose waves and you'll lose farm on mid and top. So what a better alternative would be to look for picks around mid or around top or around jungle when they're trying to ward with your insane pick comp, because you do have the tools to do that. You have Sejuani ulti, you have Thresh Hook, you have Jhin W. There are ways that you can play around you can play around their annoying range, because you guys also have really annoying range, right? So you don't have to like just run bot lane and commit to an Aurelia. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of teams would just, oh, we don't know what to do. Okay, Aurelia showed on the map. Let's just try and kill her. In reality, if you kill her, but then you lose 600 or 300 gold of farm between 2 players, then you're even. And if you lose any more than that, actually you're behind because of the XP. So, okay, so we're grouping mid. And once again, yeah, I mean, once again, this is something that I would recommend. First of all, you need to try to pan your camera towards the fights a little bit quicker and identify when your teammates are looking to do things. Because I don't think this is necessarily that bad what your teammates are doing, right?
Even though bot side is left?
Right. So this is what I would say is making a desperation play. But sometimes you do need to make these desperation plays. And what I've noticed is Aurelia is not, we cannot match Aurelia. She is about to push top tower. Do you see what's about to happen to the game state if you just let Aurelia start hitting top tower?
Yeah, she just split push.
And yeah, exactly. Imagine you just go in a world where you don't take the fight mid. You as Jhin, you just start hitting bot wave. Okay, what happens on the map?
We lose even more map pressure.
Yeah, this is kind of your window to get a pick. This is your window where Aurelia has not started hitting tower. She has not started pressuring, right? So you really, really need to start identifying these windows. And then the second part is, it doesn't matter if you go bot lane if your team is completely adamant on fighting. If you go bot lane and your Sejuani engages, then the game is lost anyway. So you need to keep your eye on and look at, it's kind of like looking at body language. It's like looking at how the way your Thresh and Sejuani are moving and understanding, like, are these guys about to start a fight? Because again, you are not using your pings aggressively or defensively enough to tell them what you want to do. So these guys are going to make up their own minds. Okay. And look, I mean, you end up contributing with W, which is fantastic, but you should have been a little bit further up, right? You should have been, standing with them here.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. That was a solid Jhin ulti.
think we could take the tower here. Not sure.
Okay, I mean this is a total mess. I don't want to have to tell you what you should do here. I want you to tell me what you have to do.
Yeah, being scared of Aurelia when you have 3.
Yeah, let's just do Nash. You're about to have exhaust soon. We have a Sejuani, we have a Victor with W, we have a Thresh with Flay and with Hook, we have a Jhin with W and with Flash. Like,
yeah,
this is like the freest Nash I've ever seen. You know? So there should be literally no world in which Aurelia stops us. And again, this is one of those situations where, oh cool, it looks like we got a lot by taking tower, but like, why don't we just take Baron? Because Baron is 10 times more useful for us in this situation than tower, right? I mean, mid-tier 1 is a very important tower, yes, but again, this is one of those calls which you need to make. You cannot rely on like Plat teammates. You can't rely on these Plat teammates to notice this.
They'll just stay there.
Exactly. You have to type it, you have to ping it, you have to be like, guys, wake the fuck up, let's go. You know? And then what I would be doing is, if I was in your position as Jhin, I would be pinging my exhaust, I would be pinging Victor ult, I'd be saying save stuff for Aurelia, and then we just start hitting Nash. And you can even type while you're auto attacking, because it doesn't take ridiculous mechanics to stand and right click. You can type like let's turn if they come, you know, or like turn on them if Aurelia shows. You can just take the Aurelia kill and back off. You don't have to overcommit here, you know?
Yeah, maybe they'll buy us enough time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't have to commit entirely to the Nash. If they send one person at you, you can kill that person and then just take the reset, you know? I mean, look at their comp. Do they do Nash very quickly? I mean, it's only Kha'Zix and Lucian that deal damage, right? And if Lucian is still dead, then, you know, Kha'Zix is going to take the 50% reduced damage to Nasher buff when he's getting hit by Nash, and he's not going to deal much damage. Senna and Veigar do not deal good Nash damage. I mean, Veigar with his W can, but he needs some stacks. I don't think this Veigar is very fed right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, my main point is that we need to, so stuff is happening on the minimap, and I think you're not catching it, which your map awareness you need to be like clued in, especially Jhin is very similar to Ashe in this regard, right? You really need to be involved in the fights. If you are stuck in side lane, like, okay, you do scale nicely, you scale well, but what is Jin's strength? What is your champion's identity and your champion's best like uses? Picks, right? And you want to be involved in the fights. You do not want to show up to the fights super late, right? Because your cooldowns can completely win or like break or make a fight. I don't know why I screwed that English up that badly, but your cooldowns can win or lose a fight super hard, right? You are not a hyper carry who just needs to auto attack to win games. You win fights by landing your W, by landing a good ult, by like, you know, CCing people after they've been CC'd by your team. That is how Jhin carries. So you want to be involved in the fights ASAP. This wave is irrelevant. This wave is whatever. Joining your team is the most important thing. And the scary part is you didn't know how the fight was going up until it was already over, which is the super scary part. For all you know, your team could have been dying while you were hitting this top wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I heard a blame myself for that.
So you need to keep your eye around the map and make sure you know exactly like what your team is up to, because you're a pick comp. You do not want to be like apart from the pick comp. Okay, so we see Kha'Zix there. Good Gale Force. I like that. I'm not a big fan of the ult. Yeah, because he has E, right? He's just going to E away. Not really a super impactful.
Because Riven was coming and Thresh was chasing him, maybe we can commit, but
you lose that 2v2 in my opinion.
Yeah, perhaps it's risky.
With Lucian Thresh versus you and was it Lucian?
Yeah, Lucian Kha'Zix.
Yeah, I mean Lucian is super fed, so I just wouldn't take that fight. I would just take the chunk. You just got free Drake, get the XP, get the farm, and you're chilling.
Exactly.
Because this game is actually kind of won now, in my opinion. You just delayed their Drake even longer. Victor's going to start scaling into super high levels. And there's something more important, which is if Veigar dies, they're full AD. So, and Veigar does have a little bit of a tough time surviving against like surviving against like a Sejuani ult or a Riven ult, if you can pick him.
Yeah.
You can find a way to get onto him. He gets chain CC'd quite easily in this game. Alright, so we're taking red buff. And then you're basing. Victor catches mid wave. And okay, again, like you're basing here while your team is doing something. You need to be telling your team, like, do you see what's happening here? Your Sejuani has come from base, your Victor has come from base, your Victor's come from, your Thresh has come from base. You see what's happening? They're all moving towards here and they want to try and like get vision and fight.
Play or something, yeah.
You got to tell them, or you got to make sure that you are a part of this play. I don't think you need to back here. I think probably staying on the map. Yeah. When I see the way they're moving, I don't want to screw over their tempo. I don't want to just base and completely screw over their tempo. I want to be a part of the play. So 800 gold is not going to win or lose the next team fight. But what could win or lose the next team fight is if these guys die. Which is about to happen. Actually, they end up surviving, barely. But it looks like this Sejuani just went way too deep.
Still going badly. Oh.
Yeah. And I think, again, it may not look like this is your fault. In a lot of replays, people would watch this and be like, oh, my team inted. But this was completely avoidable by you. You could have avoided all of this completely. So that was that was a really good play. You may have just saved Nash.
Yeah. Here's also a mechanical error I could have avoided. I think I could have killed her earlier. Yeah, if you ulted her when she queued the Victor, then you could have killed her. Yeah.
Okay.
That would have drastically reduced the damage to Nash. Maybe even like at least stall it enough until Sejuani come. Maybe.
So from this point, Baron's down. They have an Aurelia Lucian comp. It should be very hard for you guys to survive against Baron because they should split push. But I mean, it's Platinum Elo, and frankly, Platinum Elo players will not split push cleanly. So there should be multiple opportunities for you to come back in this game. But it's about how you use your pick comp. And I think pick comps are really broken in solo queue. They're incredibly strong because everybody gets picked. Everyone's always out of position constantly. They're just catching Krugs here. You want to get the full queue? Nice, nice. Hello, Nino. How are you? So you base here, and you're coming out of base, and you're walking mid. Okay, your team is just chilling. Now, enemy team, what are they doing wrong? I want you to put yourself in their shoes and tell me what they're already doing wrong here.
They probably should do 1-3-1.
Exactly, right?
They're pretty fed. They have Lucian and Aurelia who can sideline pretty safely, and the rest should go mid.
Right. There's pretty much no reason for them to be grouped as 5 on mid lane. What are they going to do? They have to deal with a Victor, potentially get a Sejuani ult. They don't have range. It's kind of worthless for them to group. And Sejuani is going to get caught. So again, I would stress the importance of telling your team what to do. Ping your Sejuani back. Tell her you don't want to take a fight in the mid lane right now. And you need to be panning up top right now and looking at how the fight's going top, because you're just blind right now. You're completely blind. You could have contributed to the top fight, but instead you had no idea what was going on. You were just hoping your team won it, right? So I just want to show you that again. Your team is clearly going for the Aurelia here. They're going for the pick here, okay? And as soon as your entire team starts walking towards top lane, tell me what a good enemy team will do to you mid lane.
Try to pressure me even more.
Yes. Can you defend 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 4?
No way.
Okay, so why are you here? Do you see why it's pointless to be here? I mean, the higher elo you go, you're never going to defend this anyway, you know? This is all, like, you're never going to be able to do anything anyway. Contribute to the play top and finish this play fast so that you can get back to mid. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a Vigar Senna. These guys outrange you now. You will never be able to survive if they just put Cage down, start hitting tower. Good luck killing those Baron minions, you know? You don't have the wave clear to deal with that. But instead, Aurelia ends up turning a kind of 1v2 situation. And now the game is kind of hard. They take inhib. They're going to back. Okay, holy crap. I guess they get Sejuani ulted here.
Yeah, they didn't get... I guess they should have packed sooner. Maybe.
Yes. I mean, what they should have done was Aurelia died, and it was a 4v3. They should have made sure that they were grouped. I don't know where Kha'Zix was, but I guess Kha'Zix was doing wolves, as these fucking players always do. You know, they could take inhib together, but instead one person always wants to do some random crap. So Kha'Zix is doing wolves for some reason, while 3 of them are taking inhib. Judging by where he jumped from, it looked like Kha'Zix was just sitting on wolves. All right, so once again, they don't have Dragon Soul yet. You only an inhib down. It's 30 minutes, and mid inhib down doesn't really matter that much. Victor kind of one-shots these minions. You're honestly not in that bad a spot, but I'm assuming that somebody's going to get caught, or there's going to be a really bad fight started in the next 2 minutes. Yeah. And once again, it's very difficult for me to give you, like, I'll finish the game and then I'll give you my summary of the game, because it's very straightforward how you can improve. But unfortunately, the first step is, it's not easy, because everyone's habit is an AD carry is to just kind of farm and try and focus on mechanics instead of focusing on like how you can influence the game as an AD carry by pinging.
Okay.
All right, so you know they're in top jungle. So they have a Lucian, a Veigar, a Senna, a Kha'Zix, and an Aurelia. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think that if you are grouped as 5 in an open area, that these champions can reach you? With Jhin, with Gale Force, Thresh Lantern, you have Swifties, you can have Flash in 20 seconds. Can they reach you?
I don't think so.
Exactly. So my question then is, why are we giving up mid-wave? Because this is one of those points where, as an AD carry, you need to start understanding just how strong you are, how influential you are. What a lot of AD carries do, especially the best AD carries I've played with, is they recognize these moments in the game where, oh yeah, I probably can't even die, you know, like they have nothing to reach me. Or imagine the difficulty in reaching you in the first place, how many cooldowns they're going to have to blow just to reach you. They're going to have to blow Senna ult to even damage you in the backline. Aurelia's ult, and Aurelia is going to have to go on you, but you have Gale Force, you have Thresh, you have Sejuani, she can peel you. If you are stacked as 5, the sheer amount of peel and mobility you have far outweighs like the dive they have, in my opinion. As long as you're not getting flanked, that is where it changes. If you're getting flanked, you're kind of fucked. Yeah. But
true.
What I would say then is, as an AD carry, start pinging this wave and say, let's group, and then maybe type something like, don't get flanked, peel Aurelia off me. Something like that. Give your team a direction, because what I'm watching right now is you just have 5 headless chickens just wandering around in your own jungle. Nobody really knows what to do. So we're just going to play by instinct and just hope that everybody plays on the same wavelength, instead of someone actually choosing a direction and making a call. Nobody's made a call yet. I haven't seen a single ping from your team being like, hey, let's play in this area of our jungle and let's win the game by doing this. It's just kind of like,
yeah,
I'll catch this wave.
In particular, was pretty passive, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It's also your teammates. They're not making a call, but like I said, you're not trying to get them to improve. You know, it's mainly you have to focus around yourself, and that is something you're gonna have to. It's very difficult to understand that your teammates will not take the reins. And even in high elo, they don't take the reins, and they shouldn't be taking the reins. It's mainly about you, because you control what you control. So what the heck is happening? This is a fantastic fight.
Yeah, until I got caught by the Aurelia.
Yeah, we need to pay attention to this Aurelia. When you ult, I think you completely forget that Aurelia is TPing in, don't you?
Yeah.
Because she was TPing in front of you for quite a while, and then you press R, and I think you're just dead if you press R there. Yeah,
between all these visual effects, I think I wasn't.
So
didn't notice it.
Yeah, so this is what I would call like threat assessment, if you could name it something. There is 2 champions in the game that, in my opinion, have the range. When you have Gale Force and Flash, there is only 2 champions that can do anything, and that is Kha'Zix and Aurelia. That's it. I don't think there's anyone else. If Lucian goes in melee range of you, he kills you kind of fast, yes, but you also can DPS him, and he'll get pretty low. And also, I mean, yeah, he can kill you, but if you have no cooldowns and he's jumping on you, then you've already made a mistake. It's mainly the Aurelia and the Kha'Zix, right? You see the Kha'Zix ulting in here. So first of all, this ultimate here is already a bit spooky because I think Kha'Zix's primary target is either going to be Victor or you, and Victor's probably going to flash out. And then secondly, you really need to keep a track of Aurelia. This shouldn't be something you notice in the fight itself, because if you notice it in the fight, it's too late. You need to notice it before the fight. You need to think about it before the fight and think to yourself. Exactly. You need to think to yourself, who is Aurelia going to go on? Does Aurelia care about killing Thresh?
No.
Does she care about trying to use her DPS or her ult on Sejuani?
Not. Yeah,
the perfect situation is Victor and Jhin. So okay, you can't control Victor, but you can definitely control where you're standing, right? So that's why you have to like just constantly be like, okay, Aurelia's where is she in the fights? You know, like constantly like where is she? Oh, okay, fuck, she's on top of me. She ults me. I'm dead. Rip. Yeah. And I'm assuming the game ends here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if I had to give you a summary, just a quick summary to end it, and then you can ask any questions you want. I would say, why is this taking so long to load? There is probably, I would say that you could leave this with 2 points. Number one, you need to stop being, I'd say you need to stop being a passenger. This is something my coach says a lot. Don't be a passenger. He says he hates nothing more than passengers. Don't be a passenger. Now this applies, he says this for competitive play, but specifically for solo queue. So that means using pings. Okay, you really need to start using pings more. And what you'll see, and here's the thing, that it does require a little bit of thick skin, because players will sometimes tilt. If you are pinging them something, they ignore it, they make a bad play, and then they're like, oh, you were pings tilted me or something. You need to learn to mute those players, move on with your life, right? Don't get dragged off track by those players. They exist in every elo, by the way. But when I spectate my games versus when I spectate, like for example your game, the sheer lack of cohesion in the team is primarily due to nobody's really pinging what they want. Nobody's pinging their important cooldowns. Nobody's pinging that they're on their way or that they're using back pings properly. Everyone is just pinging once and then expecting that Platinum player map awareness will somehow catch that one singular ping. So use pings. That's the first thing. Use pings to stop being a passenger. And the second thing is make a call. Now, again, I know this is like, oh wow, I could have told, anyone could have told you that, but I'll give you some examples in this game. When you are chilling mid lane and your team is just wandering around in between top and bot jungle, you need to decide what to do with your team's time, because your team is not deciding very clearly what to do. So you need to make a better call before your Victor does something stupid like go for blue buff alone and get caught. Stuff like that needs to be thought about. You need to actually give a clear, basically like this Thresh, for example. This guy was very clueless in a lot of the game, right? Give this player a direction. Yeah. Right? Channel his energy into something useful instead of him just coin flipping it. And then the second, so this is all kind of one point. And then the second point I would make would be, I would say for you specifically, the thing that would start improving your gameplay the most is start looking around at the map, at the state of the map, because your camera is very often like you're tunnel visioning. You're locked into your lane, into what's happening in your lane. You don't know whether Sejuani wants to gank after this camp, for example. You don't know if she's high HP. I mean, sure, you can look here, and that's fine. But you need to look at your Sejuani. Is she going to path top? If she's around Scuttle, when she was doing that Scuttle gank, for example, you need to look at her and be like, how high HP is the Scuttle? Does she want us to go now? Does she want us to go later, for example? And then in the situations, you're going for top, when your team is posturing to fight, combine those 2 points. So ping, like combine the 2 points. Use your pings and then look at your teammates and look and assess what they're going to do, and then decide what you're going to do with that information. If your Thresh and your Sejuani are like sitting in a bush, clearly looking for a pick, and you like absolutely desperately need top wave, do not just sit back and be happy with them doing that. Tell them, ping your gold, ping whatever item you want to buy, and then give them the info and tell them you're being stupid, stop trolling. Like don't let them just throw the game away and then blame it on them, because again, you have information that can help these kind of players out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any questions about the session?
Well, I guess it seems that the macro part of the game is. I thought about improving something was just the CS per minute because I had it on like an average, which is 6.5. Should I maybe delay this for later and start focusing on what you suggested?
So, okay, so that's a really good question actually. So CS per minute, in my opinion,
Not just in a mechanical way, but like catching waves. When do
yeah.
I rotate? When do I go mid, or let my mid lane go mid lane
So
assignments?
this is one of the CS per minute. If you talk about it, catching waves, it comes down to wave management, and then mid game after laning phase, you need to understand your win conditions. You need to understand what your team wants to do to win, and if you understand what your team wants to do to win, you will know on the map where you should go, right? And then you can tell your team where to go. For example, in this game, hypothetically, you are like, if the game is even, let's say you are Jin and you have a Victor. You guys do not want to be sharing farm, obviously. So where do we go
Sure.
mid game? How do we set up the waves to so that we are not just alternating waves mid lane, because that's terrible for your farm and your XP. Well, I would probably say Victor, much like I watched a Coach Curtis coaching video a while back where he was coaching a mid lane Ori, and in this situation, these two champions function very similarly in that they're control mages on side lane. Do these champions, just answer this for me, do these champions want to be on side lane 1v1ing their side lane opponent and hitting tower alone?
No, because they're playmakers.
Exactly.
So probably top side or mid.
Right. So this is what I mean. And then do you want to be on side lane like a Vayne or like a Kaisa, or potentially like playing towards sides? Do you want to be like in a side lane when enemy has champions like Aurelia? I know this is a very obvious question, but I want you to say it out loud.
No, probably not. Maybe if it was someone like Lucian, maybe.
Okay, so you have. So do you see the problem I'm trying to construct here? You have two champions that want to go mid.
Same. Yeah.
Like they both want to funnel into mid lane, right? So if both champs want to funnel into mid, who gets mid is the next question. Now, this is a question that you need to learn over time, and it's again, it depends so much on the enemy comp, and then on your comp, and then on who's fed and who's not fed, and items. It's a complicated question. All right, you can't just answer this for every game you're about to play from this point on. You know what I mean? But what you can do is in the game have, I mean, again, I know I talk about Coach Curtis a lot, but he says have a hypothesis. Do you know what a hypothesis means?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to have a theory, a hypothesis. They're two different things, I know, but I'm using them the same way. You need to have an idea of what you're going to exactly, and then you put that into practice. And if it's wrong, that's fine. You'll go back and you'll change it. That's all good. But in this game, I would say like, okay, Jin goes mid, right? And then Victor top. Why do we put Victor top? Okay, well, let's say me and Thresh are strong, so if I go mid, we can get priority versus Veigar Senna, or at least keep the wave even, or kill the wave. And okay, Victor's top lane, but Victor's kind of weak top lane. So what do we do about that? Well, let's help him out. Let's pressure. Let's move from mid lane to top lane. And this is a very standard play. This isn't some rocket science play that only challengers make. This is a generic play that you'll see at all elos. I mean, not at all elos, actually, that's a complete lie. But it is a play that you should aim to see, and especially above Master, I see it all the time, you know, where AD carries are catching waves mid, and both sides, like for example, you guys put your Victor top, you will fog towards top, and the enemy bot lane, whoever is mid lane, will fog towards their strong side. Do you see? Both sides go towards their one of their solo laners who they want to keep safe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, in the event that the enemy team thinks they're stronger topside and you also think you're stronger, there will be a fight top. But the important part here is you have just increased your CS. The whole point of this, I know this is a question about CS per minute. The whole point of this is you have just increased both of your CS per minute. You see what I mean? Because you are no longer just sitting sharing waves mid lane, right? So
that's actually pretty neat.
Yeah, my entire point is if you don't have a plan for mid game, like as an AD carry, if you were playing any AD carry, I can give you a billion examples, but if you're playing Vayne and you don't have a enemy team comp is good against Vayne, so you can't solo make plays and split push, you still need to have a game plan and a win condition for where you go on the map so that you catch waves. And that is the major difference between a good AD carry and an average one in my solo queue games. The good AD carry very quickly identifies where to be on the map to have a consistent stream of resources. But this also has to take into account your mid and your top, because if you are an AD carry and you take all the resources, well, I mean, these guys are gonna be pretty sad. So yeah, that's why I think CS per minute is a great measure. It's a great indicator of getting a lot of farm, but there's a lot of things that can affect it. Like you can have great CS per minute, but if you have absolutely trash kill participation, cool,
that's
bro.
You're
getting
exactly what I was gonna ask you next, but you already answered it. Is by applying pressure and leaning towards a preferred side, so that I join and pick, and like you just said, try to be active.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to automatically assume that your mid laner is going to like struggle to get farm if you go to where he wants to go. You just have to find a solution to the problem. It might not be perfect, and especially in this game when Victor is this far behind and also your top is this far behind, you have to suck it up and kind of just face reality and be like, we're probably only going to get pushed wherever you are. Okay? You need to face that reality, and that's actually a very big responsibility, because if you're the only person who can get push, well, guess what? You're then in charge of choosing which side you protect with your push. Okay?
So I gotta choose wisely. Okay.
You have to choose wisely. That's why playing from behind is quite a skill. It's quite difficult to do, because a lot of the responsibility when you're playing from behind is on the one person who is even or not that far behind to kind of make a very quick proactive play instead of just sitting there and hoping that their teammates can turn it around. Because League is an unfair game. It is a naturally unfair game, right? When you get ahead on League, the enemy gets weaker and you get stronger. It's not a fair game. So, all right. Any other questions or?
No, I honestly actually want to ask about how I can keep my kill participation percent up while also getting the most farm, but you already answered that.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just keep, like I said, just keep like 2 of those points in game. The 2 points I mentioned.
Pings and the
pings, and like I guess it's kind of like map awareness, general map awareness for looking at your teammates. Keep these 2 things in mind when you're playing. Try and and especially if you like champs like Jhin, Ashe, even Kai'Sa is good because of her ultimate. You need to keep track of fights before they start. You shouldn't just be rolling up to a fight and then noticing stuff. You should be constantly looking out for openings and windows that you can influence fights in. But yeah, cool. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.